there's going to be some major scandals coming, and the major point shaving, fixing of games. This stuff is out there. It's happening. If you don't think it is, then you are extremely naive. I knew it was going to be somebody, and it was probably going to be two of them. And there it was. It was the Dolphins and the Jets.
Yeah.
And that's what happens.
The stupid Dolphins and the stupid Jets.
The books do not want you to win. They're not going to give you free money. And we all just think we can just money line parlay these 7-point favorites by teasing them down or money line parlaying them. One of these teams is going to screw you like they always do. This is the 32nd ranked offensive line. And if they are the worst offensive line, that means you're telling me they're worse than the Bengals, they're worse than the Jets, they're worse than the Titans. If this is that big of a mismatch versus this defensive line that the Broncos put out there, they should wreck this football game.
Gamble up, take the risk, roll the dice. Strategy and guts gonna change your life. Poker chips and parlays, the games are set. Adam and ODB, you ain't seen nothing yet.
All right, Gamble Up episode 11 is off and running. I'm your host, Dave Schwartz, alongside producer Roscoe Pete Coltrane.
Okay.
And David Baker, co-host in Las Vegas. David, how are you, sir?
Good, man. Let's busy week gambling.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Let's get into it. Poker, You went to the Bay 101. You were a shooting star in San Jose. Give us a rundown of the tournament. Always, I think universally in poker, that is a tournament that everybody raves about for sure.
Yeah, it's this was his first time back in 8 years, and if you grew up during the boom of poker, that was kind of like a dream to be a shooting star, and you would go there, and they just treated everybody just completely different than they used to than any other place. They would have fans that lined up, take your pictures, autographs. They had nice buffet for all the players and just like everything. Didn't quite have that level of stuff, but first year back had some excitement and had the locals all out. They ran a lot of satellites and, kind of encouraging for bringing poker back to the Bay Area. And when I say bring it back, I mean the poker's there, but just from a national standpoint, the pros all came out and we were all excited to be there and had fun, and the locals were all excited to have us all there and everything, and it was fun. It was fun just to kind of be in that environment where they're trying to bring more excitement back into poker. I mean, obviously so much more of the poker landscape these days is dominated by the high rollers, and the high rollers are not the best personality, and not really their fault. It's just kind of that's the way that the game has kind of evolved, and obviously it's exciting to watch them perform, by making these great moves and all this, the right folds and the right raises and calls and all that stuff. But, for us who've been in the industry a long time, it's fun to be out there and just shooting the shit and showing the bluffs and just, the bounty adds a whole different ball game of people attacking you and things like that. So it was fun, and I enjoyed being out there and the staff out there. I know Sam Quinto and Justin Hammer and Savage obviously out there, and
you flew in for a hot minute. You went deep in the tournament. You had a good run.
Yeah, I finished 37th, which was pretty good. 600 and something people, and yeah, really these. Poker tournaments, it's all about just putting yourself in position. And I've been fortunate lately, kind of found a sweet spot with this 5K buy-in. They don't run a whole lot of them, but really just been kind of putting myself in position in all these. That was, I won the one at the World Series, came in third in another NAPT last year, got top, 13th or 12th or something like that. And so it's weird, things that are really semi-irrelevant, like the buy-in being 5,000 versus 3,500 or 10,000. You just kind of sometimes find yourself in a comfort zone, and it's every time I sit down in a 5K now, I just feel like I'm going to make a run, and I did. I got in position, and yeah, kind of anticlimactic from my standpoint. I started out, day 3 and kind of average stack. I was pretty good for most of day 2, and then come bubble time, I had Rigby come and sit to my direct right with so many chips, and he was just raising every single pot 5x, and yeah, I can make a stand with some like good or marginal hands, but like when he opens for 5x and then he never folds to a 3-bet, you kind of just hamstrung at the and during the bubble. And I did what I'm supposed to do and just kind of played tight and conservative. And but came into day 3, it was okay. And I took a 2-outer on the river for a big pot, and then how poker tournaments go. You lose 2 blinds here, 4 blinds here, and then the blind level go up, and then so your blinds get decreased by 20%. And next thing you know, you go from 50 blinds to 30 blinds, and then from 30 blinds to 15 blinds, and then you get in with ace queen versus kings, and you don't win. So kind of anticlimactic, but exciting. Kind of just renews my love for poker again. Making these runs. If you're a tournament player, or you ever really play tournaments or anything, it can be depressing, like going and busting day 1, day 2, and just constantly putting in buy-in after buy-in. But when you get in these spots and you have a chance for 6-figure and mid 6-figure payouts, and you're a few tables away, it just kind of just drives you. I don't know, it drives me, and I live for this shit. So
the mentality of a tournament poker player is funny, because when you summarized it there and you're like, big blinds go up, I lost a couple here, I'm just like, oh, you're just describing torture. And you go, it ignited my love for tournament poker again.
Yeah.
Itself, what?
Yeah, it's not for the faint of heart, but I don't know, I love the competition of it all, and I do play cash games, and I'll be honest, I'm a little fishy in the cash games. I like to splash. I get bored, and it's just the whole thing of just trying to have fun and just kind of bring a fun atmosphere, especially because I'm kind of perceived as a pro. I mean, I am a pro. I mean, I've been playing poker my whole life basically now, but you always feel like you kind of got to overcompensate and be overly fun. And I find that I do that in the cash games, and hence I get invited to every cash game in town. I mean, maybe it's a coincidence, maybe not, but yeah, I try to be a fun player at the table in the cash games. In the tournament, I can actually, whatever, I can actually try to play right and do things that I know are kind of right, while having fun at the same time. But
yeah.
What kind of home games are you getting invited to?
Yeah, you gotta be careful now.
I mean, I don't get invited to the Chauncey game. Luckily, I don't. Chauncey Billups didn't beat down my door, so that was good. I at least dodged that. Yeah, I don't really play like home games, but I do play private games in casinos, and I play in every one of them, man. There's I get invites to them all. So I mean, that must mean I'm doing something right from having a personality standpoint, which is good. That's I like to spread my love for the game, and ultimately for me, spreading fun and having a good time at the table is paramount. But also maybe I'm having a little too much fun, splashing around a little too much. So
now, before we get off tournament poker, I just want to quickly ask you, because it was you're a shooting star, you're a bounty, and I'm curious how that affects, you've played in tons and tons of tournaments. How much different is it when you're a bounty? And how do you react to it? Is it different table to table, tournament to tournament, or is it a general strategy you sort of adopt?
Well, I think it's definitely different tournament. I mean, player to, it's players, each table kind of was its own thing. It was kind of fun because like I sat down the first table, and there are 2 bounties at the table, me and this other guy. And I'm just like, all right, I'm just thinking they're all going to come after me. And, first of all, it's a 5K, which is big, but it's not like overly big. It's, and the bounty's 2,500. I mean, that's half a buy-in right there. And I kind of just anticipated like people are going to come after me. And also when I played in the Bay earlier, a year ago, they were like super reckless and really like going after it. Not even necessarily a bounty, just like super getting after it. So, you know, you always try to set up these situations in your dream situation in a bounty, like, and I was like, you know, I'm thinking about it beforehand. I'm like, all right, I'm going to go in and, you know, we're going to talk the game and whatever. And I come in, I'm like, all right, guys, I'm here to gamble. Like, come after this bounty. And the first hand, somebody raises 400, and I look down and I have the 2 aces. Literally the first hand off the deck. We all have the same amount. Like, I'm just waiting for anybody just be like, boom, and just like stick it in. So I'm just like, you know, I'm like talking for the card down that's 400, and I just briefly glance at the hand and the aces, and I'm like, I'm here to let's go. And I'd throw out 3,000, like over raising, just like, you know, like I would do that. I do that a ton in the cash game with any hand, like a ton. And so I'm just thinking like maybe like somebody will fall for it, and they just all just turbo muck and like, oh, maybe if you would have made it I'm like, oh, you know, it was like just the dream situation to get the double up on the first hand off the deck. But, you know, I picked up like the $800 or 800 chips, whatever was out there. But I found that my tables really didn't go after me. I had one hand on day one, like for people who want to like talk poker. You know, I kind of built up, and I had one guy to my left who I know that he plays the bigger game there, just because I could tell by the conversation he was having with another player at the table that he played like the bigger no limit. And there was a guy, he was an older gentleman who was kind of tighter, and he had opened for 800, and I had kind of built up some chips, and I kind of like gone after him a little bit, and he had raised 800 in the cutoff. And I was like, I was in the small blind. I had king 5 of spades, which is like a good hand to 3-bet. You know, it's got the blocker, and it's, you know, it just got all the playability, like whatever. It's just what these kids are doing. Like, that's the type of hand they're choosing. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to 3-bet. Normally I'll 3-bet like kind of big out of position with a hand like that. But I was like, no, I think this guy in the big blind, like he'll 4-bet, and then I'm just going to 5-bet, and I'm just going to win a bigger pot. So I just made it 2,200. And sure enough,
sorry, what was off the race?
so it was like we were playing 200, 400. And the guy made it 800. I made it 2,200. And then the big blind goes 5,000. I'm like, okay, this is perfect. This is just going to set up for the perfect 5-bet, because I know this is such a good spot. This guy is a good player. He's a smart player. I could just tell like he knew what he was doing. And I knew that he knew that I was just trying to exploit like the situation of this guy opening. So I kind of like re-exploited him in this situation. And then I made it 13-8, which is like a really big 4-bet. No, really big 5-bet. So I'm like, my hand just screams of like ace, king, kings, aces, and he's just going to fold here. And then he just peels for 13-8 out of the big blind. I'm just like,
how big is his stack?
I mean, I had 41,000 behind, and he had like 50,000. It's pretty, it's a lot. Like, it was a lot of blinds. And I really thought like he should just be folding like a large majority of his range there. Like he really needs to just be folding. Like he should be calling like with his aces and kings and maybe queens as traps, but he should really just be like, if he just thinks I'm full of shit, which is hard to be in that spot. Like, it took a lot for me to 5-bet in that spot. And I thought it was really pretty well thought out by me to do that. And I feel like if he just thinks that I'm full of shit, like, you know, props to him, like, because I'm normally not there. He needs to just like kind of put it in and take it there. But if he doesn't, like, he just needs to fold like his ace queens and his ace jacks and stuff. I don't really feel like he has too many pairs in this spot except his nutted pairs. So yeah, he should just be folding his ace 5s and his, you know, just his other hands, his ace jacks, his ace queens. So anyway, he calls, and now I'm just like, okay, I'm not really sure how I'm going to proceed in this instance. Let's just hope we get a favorable flop that can help dissect where we're at. And the flop came 10-9-7, 2 spades.
No.
And I have king 5 of spades. So
here we go.
Yeah. So I just sailed it in because like whatever. I didn't want to entice him to come over the top. I didn't want to check and have him bet so much that he's committed with like whatever his hand is. And he tanked for a long time, and he eventually called, and he had ace 10 offsuit with the ace of spades, which is, him having the ace of spades makes it kind of even worse because like I don't have like the ace king of spades, ace queen of spades, ace jack of spades. So my flush draws are really confined to basically like king five suited, like really. So anyway, I was really surprised by his peel of the 5-bet. And, I guess being a bounty in that spot maybe played into that hand a little bit more. But anyway, I go ahead and I drill the spade on the river and I double up. And so, but to that guy's credit, he, I didn't really like his call of the 5-bet there with the ace 10, but he did recognize that I was weak and he made a really strong 4-bet. And he did recognize that like maybe I had some bluffs in my range there, and he called off with top pair when I'm probably way more weighted towards kings, queens, aces in that spot. He blocks like the ace king and he blocks the suited ace with the spades. So, yeah, he played really well the rest of the day, and he built up that small short stack, and he ended up bagging pretty good. I gave him some props. We played a couple other hands throughout the day, and he played really well. So props for him. But I doubled up there, and it was kind of just pretty smooth sailing for me. I didn't, having the bounty on my head and having the table covered by 2x, it kind of just made it kind of easy for me, and I just kind of built the whole day, and bagged nice, and everything went pretty smooth sailing for me until I ended up things going bad for the last couple hours.
All right. Fun to talk a little bit of poker there, some hands. I was going to ask a couple more questions, but we got lots to get to. So we'll do that, in the coming weeks when you play some more poker, David. We'll maybe dissect some hands. It's kind of fun. All right. So you mentioned, the Chauncey Billups. We've had a couple of gambling scandals here in the last few weeks. And one of them, why don't we just jump into that one right away too? Or two of them, actually. They seem like they're independent of each other. But Chauncey Billups, who is a member of the NBA Basketball Hall of Fame, NBA coach, apparently has been involved with mafia-owned or run poker games, private poker games in Los Angeles, Las Vegas, different cities around the U.S., where people get invited to come and play with Chauncey Billups, and it turns out there's a rigged shuffling machine and sunglasses that can see the cards and all kinds of different things that have been set up, and people were taken for, I read, I think it was $7 million, but I'm sure it's orders of magnitude higher than what they actually think it is, probably. But huge scandal, obviously, that comes out. There's all kinds. This is going to be an incredible book, or 30 for 30 or whatever someday, on exactly what did go on here. I'm sure it'll be 10 years down the road when people can talk and not worry about getting the mafia after them or anything like that. And also, we had another player, Terry Rozier, who was shaving props. Now that gambling has come to professional sports, we've seen all these individual player props and even team stuff too. But the individual player props are quite vulnerable because, as we find out, not only Terry Rozier, but there was a Toronto Raptor. I mean, it's happened, and it's going to continue to happen, where guys are, for whatever reason, betting on props on themselves and taking them out of games, so the under cashes and that kind of thing. All this was entirely predictable, David, I would say, once gambling got this involved with professional sports. But still, it's, sad to see it actually happen nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean, we'll just address each one on its own thing. Let me first start off with the poker side of it. I want to say that poker is a fantastic game, and it has some bad apples in it. And, teaching children is a great profession, and there's some bad apples in it. And being a doctor is a great profession, and it has some bad apples in it. I mean, everything that is out there, you can find instances of bad behavior by bad individuals. Poker was the outlet that Chauncey and these other people decided to try to defraud people. There are romance scams on Telegram, and there are there's just scams and there's crypto scams, there's investing scams, there's everything. There are ways to defraud people and steal people's money. Poker was the outlet that they used in this instance. We need to stop this making a black eye on poker. And, I'm a big fan of Chad Holloway. I like him personally. I think the stuff that he's doing at Poker News for the most part is pretty good, but they have to stop sensationalizing everything that happens poorly that has the word poker in it. There was a story about a couple players who are in legal trouble and they're poker players. Like, they don't need this extra spotlight on because they're poker players. They're people that have done bad things that happen to also play poker. There's some story coming out about somebody who's a poker player that has like a brothel here or something, and like it's getting sensationalized by Poker News, and we just have to stop doing that. Like, there's just bad people that do bad shit, and poker is just a part of people's existence. So yeah, I just want to get that off my chest and be like, there's way more good people in poker than there are bad, and yeah, I want to just stop like just broad brushing poker as being bad because somebody who once played poker or routinely plays poker does something bad. All football players aren't bad because, Ray Caruth did something terrible. Like, it's just kind of like our society. So that being said, yeah, there's been cheating that's happened in poker forever, and there will always be cheating in poker. And, I hope that we as an industry just continue to be diligent to try to prevent it and make sure that it happens as little as possible. With these advancements in the shuffle machines, with technology, with glasses, with markings, with all this stuff, we just have to be diligent as a community of doing that. And I think for the most part, the casinos have done a wonderful job. And yeah, I mean, that's why I continue to play in nothing but casinos. I don't play home games, and I would suggest other people do not play home games. But if you do, you be extremely careful, and also don't be surprised if you do get cheated, because it's a lot simpler to cheat off the premises. Also, everybody there is incentivized to cheat. So, be careful.
How well known do you think it was that these games were being cheated? Like, was it just like, oh, don't go to Chauncey's game, you're going to get you cheated 100%, or are there other games like?
I don't know anything about Chauncey's game, but I do know that there are games throughout the country, and especially in LA, that whenever it comes up in any poker table, like home game, everybody's like, oh yeah, I went to the bathroom and I came back and they were dealing and I had aces, and I'm like, you're not going to get me. I fold. Like, I mean, it's just like, it's, just routinely you hear stories about like dealers bringing in a deck and just distracting and putting it down on the cut card, like just the cold deck that comes in. We've seen these scams about the shuffle machine telling what seat's going to win to your phone. So all these things are out there. So just be highly aware. I think everybody who goes to the poker game, the jokes are probably made all the time in it. And people either A, just choose to ignore it because, they see bad play, or B, they're in on it, or C, they just don't care because, they want to go and have fun. And there's, illegal substances and promiscuous figures, of the opposite sex available. There's just all these things that lure people into feeling better about being there. So yeah, I mean, it's just kind of, it is what it is out there. And I think we all as a community know about it, and some people just choose to ignore it. especially like the appeal of the money is pretty big. And a lot of times like the pros are getting invited and they're like, the owners are like, oh yeah, you'll kill this game. Like, let's be partners. And then the partner, then like, I'll take 50% of you, Adam, and then I'm going to cheat, make sure I take all your money. Well, like you're only losing 50%. Like, well, no way the owner would be in on it if, they're taking a piece. And it's like, yeah, because they're just going to get you for all the stuff. The gameplay is really big. Like, so, they just get you for your piece and then you never suspect the owners of being in on it because they're taking pieces of you. And, yeah, just be careful out there.
Do you think you've been cheated?
It's weird. I've never suspected that I've been cheated, but I can guarantee you that I have. I've just played enough poker in my life to know that I'm for sure been cheated. I mean, definitely have been colluded against. And I'm sure I've been cheated. Probably been cheated a lot. And, I'm kind of gullible. Like, I'll be honest. I'm just, you can probably get me if you want to. I don't really overly pay attention. And I'm, one of my best friends he's always telling me like, this game's cheating, he's like on the exact opposite spectrum. Like he thinks everything is cheating and a conspiracy and whatever. And I think nothing is. So, whatever. I mean, I've definitely been cheated online. I mean, that's not even a question.
Yeah.
But that's why I've kind of stopped playing online and in general. But yeah, I don't know. I'm sure I've been cheated, but I just try to see the good in people. I'm a very trusting person, and to my detriment. I mean, I've been scammed out of a lot of money. I've lent money to people that with no hope of getting returned. I've done a lot of things. But, I look back at my life and my career in this business, and I would rather be an optimist that like lost some money than just live my life in fear as a pessimist and, never have been taken advantage of. So,
yeah. And
I'm a lot more guarded than I used to be. So yeah, if you're out there and you're listening to this and you're like, oh, he's a sucker, let me befriend him. It's like, no, I'm a lot more weary of things than I used to be. So yeah.
And then the Chauncey Billups thing, or not the Chauncey Billups, the Terry Rozier thing. Like, we're football fans, we're hockey. I'm a hockey fan. We're sports fans in general.
Fans,
yeah. And I wonder, are we catching most of these, any of the, or all of these, 1% of these things that are happening? It's kind of, the good thing about the way that sports betting has gone is, of course, the sports books can now notice when there's a large amount of money bet on something that there shouldn't be bet on, and then it hits, right? There's because the markets get so deep, if you're amazing, if you have this huge amount on one side and it hits, the sports books are going to be scratching their heads and asking what's going on here and seeing if there's anything behind it. So yeah, I just don't know. I feel like if I had to take a guess, we're catching 3% of this stuff. I don't even know.
Yeah. I mean, I could do a whole podcast on this. I have a lot of opinions on it. I think the proliferation and the availability and the advertising of sports gambling is actually going to destroy, the young males, especially. That being said, yeah, obviously they're catching some stuff, but there's so much more out there. I'm with you. I hear these tired takes that, oh, well, when it was legal, when it was underground, we wouldn't catch it. And now that it's above ground, like, look, this is the good thing about legalized gambling. We caught it. It's like, no, you catching like one dude. There are so many more guys. There is so much more. And with so many more bets out there, it's so much easier to influence an outcome because you can bet team totals, you can bet player totals, you can bet props, you can parlay them, and you can just put your parlay, just the one thing that you influence, as just a small thing. So it can be a small bet. Terry Rozier sounds like he's an idiot, and he probably got in too deep with people that got too greedy and did it and got caught. I think Jonte, whatever his name is, the guy from Porter, from the Raptors, same thing. Um, but I think we need to also like change the broad brush that we look at these athletes and how we're punishing them. You have a situation like Jamison Williams got punished because, I mean, I don't know the details, but I think he just bet like, I don't know, $15 on an NBA game while he was in Detroit Lions thing or whatever. And then you got Terry Rozier, who's pulling himself out of games, and Chauncey Billups, who's saying, we're going to tank this game to his friends. Like, those are completely different things, and they need to be viewed differently. But the problem is these kids are gaining habits early, and then they get mixed up with the wrong people, and it feels like free money. And yeah, there's a lot of problems out there, and I think it's just going to get worse. And I think these prop things are just like flavors of the day for people to be looking at. And yeah, they could get rid of those. And then, okay, so like, let's say we get rid of the prop things. Now Terry Rozier owes the mob $7 million. And they're like, okay, well, now you need to actually throw the game because I can't bet on your under props. Like, there's going to be some major scandals coming, and the major point shaving, fixing of games. This stuff is out there. It's happening. And if you don't think it is, then you are extremely naive. And does that mean that like I'm going to stop betting? No. I mean, I just hope that I'm on an equal side of the ones that are fixed for me and against me, because just because the game's fixed, like you still have a 50% chance of being on the side that it's fixed, right? So I just hope that like, you win a large enough percentage of the stuff that isn't fixed, and then like you just break even on being on the right and wrong sides of games that are fixed.
Yeah, that's all you really can hope. But the severity of the offense is an interesting sort of tunnel to go down, because also in poker, we had a situation with Ren Lin, who is a GG sponsored player, and he was caught providing real-time assistance to a friend who was playing in an online GG poker tournament. So Ren is playing day one at a WSOP circuit event in Cyprus. During the day of this day one of this tournament, he was in a chat group with about 500 poker players, and another player named Real OA was at the final table of a GG event, and Ren was providing real-time assistance. Our Real OA was saying what hand he had, and Ren is telling him, what he should do or what he shouldn't do in that specific case. I guess Ren didn't think much of it, but it turned out in this other 500 group, there was another person from the final table in this in the 500 person chat group. There's another player in it. And I guess he recognized, because at the end, Real Away ends up winning this tournament, the final table, and thanks Ren in the chat. And this guy Buzzcut is like, wait a second, what happened? And reported it to GG, and GG banned Ren from the tournament he was playing in, or picked his chips up at the end of the day. And then it came out that Ren was banned or indefinitely banned from GG Poker, the World Series of Poker, because, of course, the World Series is owned by GG and all affiliate companies. And the player Real OA was permanently banned from the online platform in WSOP. So it seems like, is this the first time? And if you read Ren's apology to the community, he doesn't say that, this is the first time it's ever happened, I've never done this before kind of thing. He just sort of was very, he was remorseful and he made up, I think, $80,000 or $90,000, the difference in the money that had to go back to the player that was cheated. So interesting, and the other, so he's a sponsored player by GG, which is troublesome for GG, because if he wasn't a sponsored player, I would imagine he would have been banned for life too. Turns out he wasn't. Is that understandable? I don't know. But a different conversation for sure. But, as far as transgressions go, compared to what we were talking about earlier, it's Ren didn't get any financial help from this. He's just, in a chat group saying I would fold here or I would call here or whatever he would do. If it's an ongoing thing that these 500 people are doing all the time, that's different, but it doesn't seem like that's the case.
Yeah, I mean, this one's a tough one for me. I'm very anti-cheating, obviously. That obviously sounds stupid to say, but I'm anti anything that goes against the spirit of the game. But also, I can't say that I haven't seen or heard or possibly asked or possibly answered. I don't remember anything specific, but you're at the table and people are playing and, online, and it's like, oh my gosh, I just got 4-bet here by ace queen. What would you do here? And it's like, oh yeah, I'd fold, or, oh yeah, I'd shove it. I'd 5-bet them, or what, it's just sometimes like that. And I would bet that happens a lot. Like I said, I don't remember any particular instance, but I can just imagine just kind of just being a friendly person or whatever, like possibly answering, possibly not. But it wouldn't just go through my head like, oh, I'm not going to give you real-time assistance because there's somebody on the other. I don't know if we're necessarily built that way. That being said, yeah, obviously he needs to be held to an extremely high standard. He's being paid by the company. Especially if it was on the site, like that's more. Full disclosure, I know Ren. I would guess maybe 50% chance he knows who I am. Maybe 50% chance he doesn't. I don't know. Like, we've been friendly at the table, but he's friendly to everybody. So, I have no agenda with him whatsoever. I will say, from everything that I've heard and seen, it doesn't seem to be a habitual thing. It doesn't seem like he's traditionally in the wrong. I feel like he's done basically what's right in the poker community. So yeah, I'm willing to have a little more grace with him. Like lumping him into being banned for extended period of time or forever. They said indefinite. I don't know how long indefinite is, but for a long time with people who have done things like Jake and Ali, who not to get into like too much, but you're muted, Adam, just for
Sorry. What I was trying to say there is that was systematic with Jake and Ali, right? Like that's a long-standing something that they're actively doing all the time. From the sounds of this, it sounds like it was, I got Jack 10 here. What should I do?
Yeah. So I don't know all the details. And, I mentioned something on Twitter and I got multiple replies of, you don't know what's going on. You don't know this. And I don't know. I'm just saying, like, as a community, we have to have degrees for what we're enforcing. Now, if information comes out, and this is habitual with Ren, or his group or whatever, by all means, lock him up, throw away the key, don't let him back in. That's fine. I'm willing to change my opinions based on the information that I have today. Seems like he's getting overly done, but on the flip side, I understand that because he is an ambassador for the site, that he is held to a higher standard. He is getting paid money to know the difference between right and wrong. Whereas, like, your random person sitting down at, a table and playing while his friend is doing something exciting may not understand the boundary. So yeah, he deserves punishment. And, but yeah, I just want to just say that there just does need to be degrees. And, yeah, if there's more information comes out, then I'm all for, by all means, he deserves to be treated more harshly. And if it comes out that this was an isolated incident, then yeah, maybe he loses a sponsorship, maybe he loses, whatever. But I think a permanent ban from like poker or poker's biggest stage, the World Series, seems a little excessive at this point based on what we know. But again, I'm willing to change my opinion in the future.
All right, so let's get to some football. Let's talk about the NFL Week 8 and Week 9. Last week, we, or you specifically, mentioned that you were all in on the Ravens. The Ravens at 25-1, I believe you got, to win the Super Bowl. They were 1-5 last week, and they came through, beat the Bears, and the Steelers, who were leading the division, lost to the Packers. So big swing there in that division towards the Ravens. I noticed the line only came down to about 20-1. I thought it might have fallen a little bit further, but there's still 21-1 out there that you can find the Ravens at. But seems like you got it in good there. Yeah,
definitely feeling good about that. And anybody who followed Gamble Up and listened to me on that and got a ticket, we're holding a nice ticket right now. I think it'll probably go down once Lamar shows that he's healthy. So, but it's going to be limited to how low it can go, just based on the fact that they're so buried in record, and also the Chiefs and the Bills are still in the conference, and we know what they are come playoff time. So yeah, I think there's still some room to get in this week. Again, the Ravens have what appears to be a layup game, and the Steelers have a game where they're an underdog. So we might be looking at a 1-game lead if things play out the way that they're supposed to, according to the odds makers. So yeah, again, I'll just go ahead and paraphrase the things that I've said in the past, that, if the Ravens are even money to make the playoffs, what would they be if they do make the playoffs to win the Super Bowl? And I think if you just get them to the Super Bowl, they're looking at 6 to 8 to 1, 6 to 1, maybe 8 to 1. If they get to the playoffs. So if that's the case and they're even money to make the playoffs, you just double that. So I think like fair price is like 10 to 1 or 16 to 1. And they are a favorite to make the playoffs right now. They're an actual favorite to win their division, which means they will have a home game if they win their division. So, I think 20 and 21 to 1 is still a great price. Don't do anything like just bet to win the division. Don't do anything like just bet their over wins or anything like that. Because if it goes south, it's going to go south because Lamar or the defense gets re-injured again. And at that point, it doesn't matter if you lost. If you had $1,000 and you bet $1,000 to win the division, you get $1,000 at the end. Like whatever. If you lose and they don't make it, you lose your $1,000. But if you bet that to win the Super Bowl, if they fall apart, then whatever, you still lost your same $1,000. But if you win, now all of a sudden you have a 25 to 1 on something that's probably going to be about 8 to 1 come that spot. So, I think it's still a healthy. I still think it's a good bet. So, I still like it at 21 to 1. I probably will like it until it gets down to about 16 to 1.
So we've seen their offense score at will in previous years. It's been a juggernaut in some cases. The defense, maybe not so much this year. Getting healthy. How much confidence do you have in their defense that they're going to need to win it all?
Well, obviously the defense has been the problem, but a lot of it has been injuries. But they got back Kyle Hamilton and Roquan Smith this past week, and they showed up against the Bears. Now, we don't think the Bears are championship contenders yet, but they are an up-and-coming team, and they are a team that has been, they do have an offensive genius at the helm. So, I do think that the Bears were a reasonable test that they passed, and they don't really have a test this week with the Dolphins, but that's the great thing about them, is that most of their schedule is not really that tough a pass. They have 2 games against the Bengals. They have 2 games against the Steelers. They have a game against the Browns. They have a game against the Dolphins. I mean, that's 6 games right there that you would think that they would be either medium to large favorites against. So there's a couple other games mixed in there. So the defense doesn't have to be elite right now. What they do need to do is stay healthy and get better. So as long as they can start getting healthy and keep getting better, then I trust them.
Not a lot to talk about in week 8. There are a lot of blowouts, not a lot of close games. But the one interesting game I thought it would be fun to kind of shine a light on was the Jets comeback against the Bengals. And I know it cost you in Survivor, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But interesting, fun game to watch for sure. A lot of points, a lot of interesting decisions. We've given it to Aaron Glenn pretty good. And he's getting some praise this week for some of the extra point decisions, etc. But I mean, I think we need to back up a little bit. First off, the whole Tyrod Taylor, Justin Fields thing. Fields, I mean, what did he say? He was in his closet crying because of what was happening. Like, the kid's been put through it. It's not like they're treating him well. And Tyrod Taylor is. Tyrod Taylor really any better than Justin Fields? I don't see it. But anyway, he decides. Well, I think the decision was made for him. Tyrod Taylor's hurt, so he ends up dressing Fields, and Fields goes out and has a great game. And then you know, I don't know if you remember, but early in the game, they have a 4th and 1 on their own 35 or something in the first quarter. And it's not even a 4th and 1. It's like a 4th and a half where, you know, obviously the tush push and all the different things. But Glenn decides to do a sweep right that Fields tosses it 6 yards behind him to the running back, and he gets stuffed. And I'm just thinking, why would you throw the ball back 6 yards when you need to go half a yard? And of course he's going to get stuffed. So just a terrible decision there. I don't know. Does Aaron Glenn deserve all the props he's getting this week?
I mean, him just come in and go, this is who we are. This is Jet football. And it's like, yeah, you got bailed out because the crappy backup old quarterback was too injured to play. And then Justin bails you out. You know, they're down 14 with like, I don't even know, like 5 minutes left in the game or whatever. I was, you know, trying to watch all the games and play a poker tournament. So, you know, I wasn't as dialed in as I normally would be, but yeah, I think this was just kind of a lucky situation that he just kind of got bailed out on. But, you know, like I said, all the teaser donkeys, they just were going to go down this week. I got, you know, we had a negative comment in the YouTube streets that like, you know, tease donkeys or whatever. I don't know what I said, but I was
mouth breathers. You called them mouth breathers.
I was just joking around. Tease players, you guys are great. You have a system. It works. But like I said, I did not know who was going to blow it up, but I knew it was going to be somebody, and it was probably going to be two of them. And there it was. It was the Dolphins and the Jets.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
The stupid Dolphins and the stupid Jets.
Yeah. Like, let's be honest. The NFL, I mean, not the NFL. I mean, the books do not want you to win. They're not going to give you free money. And we all just think we can just money line parlay the, you know, these 7-point favorites by teasing them down or money line parlaying them. One of these teams is going to screw you like they always do. So, yeah, chalk one up for the non-mouth breathers. The mouth breathers got crushed. And I'm sorry to our friend. I hope that you give us another shot on here. I will say that, you know, betting Wong teasers, that's a skill, like to be able to get it under 7-3 and above 3-7 and all the shit that the the tease players do. You know, congratulations on finding that flaw in the betting. Anyway. Yeah. You know, the Jets are the Jets and they suck and they're probably going to suck most of the games and they're probably going to have a couple things go their way and win a couple games because it's the NFL and that's what happens. Every team cannot suck every game and continue to not have a break go their way. I mean, the Tennessee Titans absolutely suck, but you know what happened? The Cardinals gave them a game. The Jets suck. And you know what happens? The Bengals gave them a game. I mean, it's just going to happen. This is the NFL. It's going to happen. And we don't know which team that sucks is going to get given a game this week or next week or the following week, but it's going to happen again. And we're going to sit here and we're going to be like, oh, okay, this coach, this and that. And, you know, the reality is that it's the NFL and these guys are all out there playing hard. And there's a lot of fine lines and margins. And, yeah, congratulations to the Jets and the Jets backers that you came out on top on this miracle. Luckily, I didn't, you know, that was kind of my only, that was the only team that really crushed me this week was the Bengals. So it's okay. We're going to have one every week. So
I think you said something like you kind of thought that the NFL was a spot league, like you just look for spots. And I think last week you said the Texans were going to be in a spot coming off that horrible game in Seattle. And the Jets are another spot, and they both turned out to be true.
Yeah, so I asked I asked on Twitter before the show if anybody had any questions that they wanted, and Kevin McPhee, who's a great poker player, I think he won World Series Europe 1 year and been around for a long time. I know he's a fan of the podcast and stuff. So shout out to him. He asked, what did I mean by spot plays? And so spot plays to me are plays that, like, if you just pulled this game out and you looked at it, not in the context of what's happened this week, last week, whatever, you might have a different opinion on the game. But when you put into the context of what happened last week, maybe the game plays out a little bit different based on people's views of what happened and what that does with the line.
Because
so anyway,
so remember, and I get this all the time with my friends, David. They're like, "Oh, Vegas thinks the Seahawks are 3 points better," and I'm like, "That's not what a line is. A line is a reflection of the action that they get in. So if they have a bunch of action on the Seahawks, they'll make the Seahawks a bigger favorite. So it's not a reaction of what Vegas wants or thinks; it's a reaction of what the market thinks. And
so sometimes spots come up where things just look like awkward, and it's a lot because, and we've had back-to-back weeks of this. So you have 2 weeks ago, you had the Niners play the Falcons on Sunday Night Football. The Falcons the week before were on Monday Night Football, and they looked like they were Super Bowl contenders. They beat the hell out of the Buffalo Bills, who everybody had as their top-ranked team at that time. And you had the Niners, who had a sleepy game. I can't remember exactly what happened, but they didn't look all that good. So now you have a situation where the Niners were at home and they were laying points to the Falcons coming in. And every mouth breather out there looks at this game and says, wait a second, I just watched this Falcons team dismantle the Bills, and now they're getting points against Mac Jones? This can't possibly be right. This is too good to be true. Well, it is too good to be true. And the Niners went ahead and they won that game and they dismantled them. Now coming to the next week, now you have the Niners coming off of that game where they looked so good against the Falcons. And now they're going to the Texans, where everybody was focused on how dumb and how bad the Texans offensive line, coaching staff, weapons, CJ, how bad everybody was against Seattle. Now they're playing. So we have this Texans team that looks so bad on national TV, and we had this Niners team that looks so good on national TV, and they're playing, and the books are saying the Texans are favored. That can't possibly be right. Every mouth breather, including myself, fell for it and said, this Niners team is just better. This Texans team is stupid. This is a spot. This is a spot where the books know and they don't care. They're like, every mouth breather is going to bet on the Niners, and we don't care. We're going to continue to give you money if you take the Niners. We are going to continue to give you a point and a half, 2.5 points. Just take the Niners, because we know that this is a spot that all you mouth breathers are going to fall for this team. And so that was basically what happened. And I did it because I'm a ball knower. I'm a ball watcher. And I watched the Texans just be stupid. And, I breathed through my mouth and I put my money on the Niners and I fell for it. And, that's basically what a spot is. It's just a spot that, like, the casino just knows that everybody's going to pile on a certain side, and they don't care. They just don't care, and they're not going to move the line. And they're just happy just taking the money. They were just happy just taking all the Niners money that we mouth breathers wanted to give them.
I think there's a spot this week too. Oh, we'll get to it when we do.
I think there might be one too. I'd be interested if you think it's the same game, but
all right. Let's wrap up quickly the wagers and contest stuff. With wagers, you didn't love a lot of games last week. Yeah, I think the week before there was a lot of games there that you liked and did quite well, and then last week not so much. I don't think there was any games that you really loved. So your record there is still 10-8, and then the games you liked were 3-3. So you're still 21-18. So above 500 on both. And then moving on to the millions, I think we talked about it. So maybe just wrap up sort of your thoughts on the millions there. I think. Oh no, sorry, we talked about Survivor, but not the millions. You went 1-4 with your best team and struggled this week for sure.
Yeah, that was kind of annoying because the Lamar news came out and the line was already static at 6.5, and they were down to like 2.5 in real life. So I still like the Ravens in that spot, but you just can't pass up, 4 points in the NFL. And so I was like, we just got to do it. We just got to suck it up and put the Bears in. Like, you just don't get these bad lines too often. We did that. And we had like all these games that we liked, and we just kind of chose wrong on which ones to put on. I felt like I don't know. I felt like a lot of, even though I knew that the books were going to have like a big exposure and want the Texans, I felt like all the like sharp people knew that this was kind of a spot, and I thought the Texans were going to be very popular. So I was fine like putting the Niners on there for a contrarian play. It didn't work out that way. They were basically even. And then like the Falcons had a bad line. I didn't think Cousins was any worse than Penix. So I was wrong there, but
Yeah.
a game that I really didn't even like, but I was like, I felt like we could get some leverage. Anyway, I felt like there's another bad read for me in the contest. I thought that everybody was going to take the Packers, and I love the I not love, but I like the Packers, and I thought people were going to line up to play the Packers, but they didn't. They lined up to play the Steelers, which we would have definitely had the Packers on our card if we didn't think that. We were just trying to, we're at the point where we tried to take some spots where I thought we would be against the contest majority. And just kind of bit us in the butt. We got 1-4 on the card, which sucked because we really didn't do that bad. We felt, we had the Bucks, we had the Packers, and we just put them on the wrong cards. We didn't even really like the Bears, and we stuck them on the card. We didn't really even love the Falcons, and just kind of stuck them on the card. It was just kind of bad card management, to be honest. Take our lumps there.
And then moving on to Survivor. The Falcons and the Bengals both lose, which torches about half the remaining entries there. One, I think you had one in the Bengals, but still have.
Yeah, we had one on the Bengals and 3 on the Colts. And it was overall net positive, honestly, because not only do, our Colts entries just have more value. Also, a large percentage of the field, like 50% of the field got knocked out, and 10% of the people advancing had the Patriots, and Patriots are like a really good team to have in the future. So all our entries that haven't used the Patriots go up in value because like now that 10% really like was almost like 20% because, of the fact that half the people got eliminated. So some of the entries that we actually have like turned in to be pretty good. Overall, it was a net positive. Like, I didn't mind the Bengals losing from a Survivor standpoint. If the Falcons would have won, then I probably would have. That kind of would have hurt us. I would have rather had the entry, but considering that 20% of the people basically had the Bengals, and 20 and 30 something percent of the people went out with the Falcons, it made that like even more exaggerated as to a percentage of the pool that went out with the Bengals as well. So. Sitting okay. We've got entries left, and it's halfway through the season, and they've got some pretty good paths with them.
Let's talk about those paths. So I think a month from now, we've got Thanksgiving, which is the first difficult spot for Survivor, right? There's 3 games on Thursday. Packers and Lions, going to be a toss. The line will be close, I would imagine there. Maybe small favorite for the Lions. And then we've got Chiefs and Cowboys, and you've got Chiefs. I believe you have Chiefs open on all 3 of your tickets. Is that right?
No, definitely not on all 3 of them, but okay. But on 1 or 2 of them, we do.
So the Chiefs will be a favorite there, and then Bengals Ravens. You don't have the Ravens anymore, so I can't.
We got Ravens on 1 card. I think. Okay. Yeah, but also in the Thanksgiving slate is also the Eagles. Is the Black Friday game with the Eagles Bears. So we have Eagles on everything. I think we have Ravens on 1 and Lions on 1, the same one. And then the Chiefs on the other 2. We also have Dallas available on both of them on all our cards. So if we want to go contrarian and play maybe against the Chiefs, just kind of at this point, kind of just leaving our options open. Luckily, I don't really see big spot for any of those teams moving forward until like a week before Thanksgiving, where the Eagles and Ravens both have good spots. So I mean the Lions have a good spot this week, but I think we'll just probably hold them in reserve, and then I can't even remember who else we talked about, but obviously not playing the Chiefs this week or anything. So
I went ahead and did some tiers, and I don't know what you think of these tiers. I just kind of did it mostly blind. And I've got in the first tier, I've got Chiefs, Lions, Colts, Eagles, Bills. And then I've got in the second tier, Rams, Packers, Broncos, Bucks.
Yeah, so I would stop you right there, and I would say that I would either make that first tier smaller or I would make it bigger. I don't really think there's much difference between that tier and at least the Packers and the Rams. I could make an argument for the Broncos as well. The Bucks, I think, are clearly in the next tier. So yeah, I would probably just. I mean, I don't know if you want to make it a two. If you want to make it a 2 or 3 team first tier and have the Chiefs and whatever, the Lions and maybe whatever, maybe the Eagles or maybe the Colts, that's fine. But to me, I don't really think it's that big of a tier break. I would probably just make it like I would definitely. I don't think the Rams are any different than the Eagles or
Oh, really? Okay.
and especially in the Packers either. The Packers are power rated as the number 2 team in the league. Like according to the lines on neutral site, I think Packers fall in right under the Chiefs. Even though I don't necessarily see it that way, the bookmakers do. So yeah, I think you have to have the Packers and the Rams in any conversation that's more than 3, maybe 2 or 3 teams deep.
Okay. And then in my third tier, I have Seahawks, Chargers, Patriots, 49ers, Texans, Ravens.
You definitely got to get rid of the Texans in that one.
I've lost you there. Okay. So Texans down one.
The Texans are not in the same tier as that one. I'm not even sure the Niners are in their current construction either. I would say that tier is
too big.
What'd you say, Ray? I think the Ravens are in that tier. What's that?
Yeah, so I got Seahawks, Chargers, Patriots, 49ers.
Seahawks, Chargers, Patriots, Ravens. I would maybe put in that group. I could make a case for moving the Ravens up to the next group with Lamar back, but maybe we'll just hold them down here for now. But in a week or two, I would definitely expect the Ravens to be up. The Chargers are close. I guess maybe now they could be considered in that tier. But yeah, I would say that the first couple teams you mentioned, the Patriots and whoever that other
Seahawks,
Seahawks. I think the Patriots and Seahawks have kind of proven that they probably belong. I would probably throw those other teams up to tier 1, and then I would maybe make the Broncos, Bucks, Chargers, and Seahawks maybe in the tier 2, and then tier 3, Niners, Ravens, Texans,
Patriots.
No, I put Patriots in that tier 2 right now. The Patriots have proven to me that they're a good team. Yeah.
Okay.
That's kind of the way that I would look at it. I would probably put the Falcons in there too, despite their terrible loss here. I think the Falcons are still probably. I mean, I'd still probably take the Falcons over the Texans in a neutral site game.
In the next year I had Steelers, Jags, Bears, Falcons, Cowboys.
Yeah, that seems about right, I would say.
And then I got Panthers, Vikings, Bengals.
Vikings probably aren't. Vikings maybe are in tier amongst themselves, maybe between those two, but
okay. Commanders, Cardinals, Giants, Browns, Dolphins.
Wow, you got the Commanders with the Dolphins? Come on. No.
We're picking nits here, aren't we? And then Saints, Raiders, Jets. Then I've got Auburn and Saskatchewan Roughriders, and then I got the Titans.
Yeah, I mean, Titans are definitely they're appearing to be a league of their own right now. But yeah, I mean, whatever. Titans, Jets,
Okay, we can revisit that as we go. It'll just be an interesting exercise to see who moves.
For sure. I'm not ready to put the Commanders in that tier. I mean, maybe their record is going to be that way. Maybe as current constructed, maybe, but it's hard. Like, they have so many guys that are like week to week, and it's like, are we judging based on who they are or based on who they are this week? Yeah, based on maybe last week with no Mariota and a still banged up Terry. But like, if they have Terry and Jaden, like, I don't know. I mean, I think they're definitely not the Dolphins. They'd probably be laying 10 against the Dolphins. Like,
all right, and then in the futures, the Super Bowl futures we mentioned earlier, the Ravens 20-1. Broncos also 20-1. I thought that was kind of low for a team that, could beat anybody any day. I don't know. Like it just seems like it.
I love the Broncos. But look, when we get to January, are people going to trust Knicks to go to Kansas City, to go to Buffalo, to play Baltimore? Like, there's just kind of a maturing. Do I think that they can win a game? Yeah. I'm a huge Broncos, huge Knicks. I mean, we all know that, but to actually string together 3 wins plus a Super Bowl win against the best coaches and the best quarterbacks in the league is kind of tougher to say. I mean, for my money, if they both get there, I'll take Lamar and the Ravens. So yes, the Broncos have a better chance of being in the playoffs, but if they get to the playoffs, I'll take the Ravens. So what you're giving up in chance of making the playoffs, you're gaining in ability to actually win, to string 3 of these games together. I mean, we're looking at ceiling outcome for the Super Bowl, and I'm not sure that the Broncos have the ceiling outcome that the Ravens have. But their floor is they lose a wild card game. Whereas the Ravens' floor is, they finish 6-11 and never get healthy in the season from hell. So yeah. I think the Broncos have a lower floor and a lower ceiling. So to win the Super Bowl, I just have to play the Ravens if given the choice between the two.
And then in our Week 9 preview, those Broncos are at Houston. Texans -1.5. And when we talk about a spot game, this is the game I was talking about because everybody is going to be on the Broncos from what I can see. Getting points in Houston, I mean, that just seems like, how do you take the Texans there?
Yeah, I don't really see this one. This isn't my spot game. Because the spot game to me, a team has to have looked really bad the week before, and the Texans did not look bad. The Texans actually looked really well, really good. The offensive line controlled the game. But I'm not getting out of my head what I saw in Seattle with this offensive line, and I'm not going to get out of my head what I've seen for the last year and a half from D'Amico Ryan's coach offense. And granted, we're dealing with 2 different offensive coordinators, but they've continuously not been able to generate push off the line. And this Broncos defensive line is beastly. They're fast, they're big, and they're strong. And if you believe in anything that I talk about football, you have to like the Broncos here because this is the 32nd ranked offensive line according to everything that I see. And if they are the worst offensive line, that means you're telling me they're worse than the Bengals, they're worse than the Jets, they're worse than the Titans. If this is that big of a mismatch versus this defensive line that the Broncos put out there, they should wreck this football game. So yeah, I don't care that it's in Houston. This Broncos team went to Philly and won. They went to Indianapolis and they had the game won there. With that field goal leverage call we've talked about every podcast. So yeah, I mean, I have to like the Broncos here, and I don't really think I think to me it's just rule of trenches, and that's my absolute go-to. First thing I look at in a game is the trenches, and the trenches all are Texans coaching staffs. I mean, I don't like some of the things that Peyton does, but give me Peyton here versus D'Amico, and I don't really. I mean, CJ, when he's under pressure, he sees ghosts and he throws it fast and inaccurately. And I do trust the Broncos to scheme up short, quick screens and swing passes to Mims and Harvey and Ingram. And yeah, so I trust the Broncos to combat this defense more than I trust the Texans.
Yeah, I'm with you on all that. It just feels like the books are begging you to bet the Broncos, which kind of scares me, I guess. Next game, Colts -3 at the Steelers. Thought that might be a bit of an interesting game. Obviously the Colts with a better football team there. Don't know that there's a lot to say about that. The Chiefs
Let's
-2.
let's go back. Let's go back to that game real quick.
Okay, sure.
This is the game that I think is the spot game of the week.
Okay.
Everybody has watched the Colts. I mean, we watched them dismantle the Chargers.
Yeah, the whole bit.
We watched them dismantle the Chargers. We watched them dismantle the Titans. Now, granted, the Titans stink, but we've basically just watched them just continually move the ball at will. And we have seen the Steelers team. We saw the Steelers team just get absolutely owned at home by the Packers and the Bengals in back-to-back weeks. Who is going to just take 3 points or minus 150 on the Steelers? Nobody. Everybody's going to play the Colts here. And if everybody's going to play the Colts and they're leaving this line at 3, I don't know. Maybe I want the Steelers here. Yeah. So this is kind of the spot to me. I can't see how anybody with a pulse is going to say that the Steelers are going to win this football game, and yet they're leaving there at 3 for us. So, yeah, I have to think this is the spot where the Steelers are primed. I don't know if I can do it because, sometimes I'm a mouth breather myself, and, I've got the Ravens futures, and I really want the Steelers to lose this football game, but yeah, I think this is mouth breather du jour here with the Colts, and yeah. So,
well, imagine if we were in week 2 or 3, and I told you that this week 9 game, Chiefs at Bills, the Chiefs would be 2.5 point favorites. How much would you have bet on the Bills at that point?
Yeah, probably about as much as I'll probably bet on them this week. I mean,
all in.
I mean, I don't know. It's tough for me to go all in. I'm not a full believer in this Bills team, and this Chiefs team has made me somewhat of a believer. But look, I can't get there. You're telling me that the Chiefs are 4.5 point favorites on neutral. This Bills team was power ranked number 1 a couple weeks ago, and now in just a couple short weeks, now you're telling me that they're 4.5 points on neutral, 2.5 points on the road. I can't get there. I can't get there to that number. You're basically telling me if this game was in Kansas City, this would be 6.5 points. Neutral 4.5. Now in Buffalo 2.5. I can't get there. So yeah, I'm just gonna have to play the Bills. And yeah, I'm the Chiefs hater. I mean, I guess I embrace it, and it's getting harder and harder to be here on an island because damn, they look good. And Mahomes looks good, but yeah, Josh Allen is not going to be afraid of the big, bad, mighty Chiefs. He's played them when they've been at their best, and yeah, I just got to do it. I mean, I have to play the Bills. What say you guys?
Yeah, I like the Bills too at home. Pacheco's out. Is Pacheco out? I don't know that really matters a ton.
But we're not handicapping for Pacheco here.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm with you on the Bills. I think that's that would be my play there as well.
How about you, Ross? I know you were big Bills at the beginning.
Bills guy.
My dog's going crazy, but yeah, I'm not seeing 2.5 anymore. It's 1 now.
Was it 1? It's down to 1.
Yeah, but that's with juice. If you want to get even juice, you just got to do the little drop down menu. You can get it to, but yeah, it's 2 at circa 2.5 DraftKings. Yeah, Pinnacle may be a little lower than that, but yeah, whatever.
And then I guess the other interesting game is Falcons at Patriots. Obviously Drake May's having a great season. I like.
Yeah, are we believers in the Patriots yet?
I am. Yeah, I think I am. But I'm a Drake May guy in all my fantasy, so I might be a little biased.
Yeah. So here's another. If I had to pick a second spot, here's another thing. Are you
want the Falcons?
I mean, just how can you look worse than getting blown out by the Dolphins at home? And now you got to go play this team that is basically just, molly whipping everyone. So yeah, this would be the other spot that I'm kind of would be scared of. So yeah, I think the Falcons have shown that they have good games in them. So yeah, they're Jekyll and Hyde team for sure. But yeah, this is a game I would just say watch out. Just watch out.
Tread lightly. Okay. We ran a bit late because we had some poker to talk about and some other stuff. So we got to that as well as our NFL stuff. Thanks to you guys for getting together. Thanks to everybody out there for listening. And we will see you next week.